Right, this is an unusual review for me. Well, kind of an overview. I'm doing it in VirtualBox because my test PC is kaput. And so things are going to be slightly different, maybe a little bit shorter, or maybe not as in-depth. We'll see. Anyway, we'll start on the GhostBSD website, which is a thing of beauty in itself, I think. Eric has done a fantastic job in getting the GhostBSD webpage looking very much like GhostBSD itself, so it's kind of all integrated, which is a nice touch. Everything you need on the webpage is here. You've got support, development, stores, news, documents, community, downloads, the usual things. In the about, you can about GhostBSD license and partners and Patreon, etc. Community, we've got forums, old forums, Telegram, Discord, and GhostBSD Con, which is coming up. Support, you've got bugs. Development, you've got the GitHub and roadmap. And for stores, you've got some nice things, which we'll have a look in another video. You're going to donate as well if you wish, which I highly recommend. For news, we'll have a look at the new release. And this is an exciting thing because it's a new way that the scheduling the release. It's also tying up with FreeBSD, this is FreeBSD release branch. God, I can't get my words out then. So it said we're excited to roll out GhostBSD 25.01 dash R14.2 P1. It's a mouthful compared to previous release names, which is, this is to be expected. It says our first release under a new versioning scheme and a commitment to rock-solid stability. After discussing with our contributors, we've moved from FreeBSD stable to FreeBSD release. Building this version on 14.2 release patch set 1, the first patched update of FreeBSD 14.2. This shift, paired with a transparent naming format, promises a smoother, more predictable GhostBSD experience. It's a shift, and I think it makes it easier for the developers to catch a breath, really, because, FreeBSD stable, it does change a little bit more than, say, like the release, which really only gets security and bug updates rather than new features or changes to the various libraries, etc. Yeah, it says our new versioning, it's 25.01 dash R14.2 P1 breaks down as 25 for 2025, 01 as our patch version, R for release, and 14.2 for the FreeBSD base, and P1 for the FreeBSD's first patch level. This aligns us with FreeBSD's release cycle, freeing us to focus on enhancing our desktop, which keeping update timely and stable. Based on FreeBSD 14.2 release patch set 1, GhostBSD brings the Mate desktop to 1.28.2 and debuts 2025 wallpapers and delivers better hardware support and polish throughout. Sounds great. And tells you what's new. You got your Mate desktop has been updated. It's a visual refresh, which looks very nice indeed, very professional. Hardware boost, added QEMU, USB tablet and XHCI mouse support. Broader accessibility and workstation firewall, which is a great idea. And improvements and features. You've got tuned live session memory for snappier start. It does seem to be quicker. I'll give it that. It's pulled in release engineering 14.2 updates from FreeBSD, simplified driver and software management with a refactored package list, replaced auto mount in GhostBSD utils with UDisk 2 in GVFS for better media handling. Fixed, I mind saying that though, I never had a problem with it before, but fixed USB stick unmounting for XFCE users. Bug fixes, fixed update station startup errors and polished its progress display. It does look better, I'll show you that later. Restored software stations category rendering past emulators, okay. Fixed in temp FSS in FSTab. .extra and trimmed XFCE settings duplicates, patched an installer, which is GHI, username entry deletion bug, and skipped DA devices in disk queries. Okay, I've never noticed that one before. And some security updates for Firefox and rsync. So yes, head on over to the GhostBSD website for a closer look or a more in-depth look for the changes and additions, etc. There's a changelog summary if you want an even more in-depth and technical look, which we'll have a quick look at here. Yeah, there's way more details in case you need it. So it's done quite a lot of work on this this release, not only just the aesthetics, and it shows you how to upgrade from a previous release, which I can't do at the moment because my hardware is out of action, and I would normally have done that. I'm using VirtualBox at the moment, and yeah, I'll just keep it simple. After all that spiel, I think the best thing that we can do is to start the download. You get a GhostBSD official image with Mate, and there's the system specs at a minimum. Because it's FreeBSD based, it doesn't need a lot of system resources. But you know, the more you have, the better it will probably be. And there's a community image at the bottom which runs XFCE. Now this is not, as far as I know, it's a community effort and supported by forums, etc. So yeah, and there's the instructions if you want to put it to a USB stick if you install it on hardware. Of course, if you're doing it via VirtualBox or any kind of virtual machine, then just the ISO download will do. And you can have it right torrent. There's really nice notes. A torrent or direct download if you wish. For me, the French one will be the closest if you're in the US and Canada, but for me, it'll be France. And there we go. It's a 2.8 gigabyte image, which, you know, in this day and age is not huge. I do remember when you used to better get operating systems on a 650 megabyte CD image. Them days are long gone, but still 2.8 is not too bad. And we get a thank you for downloading. And you don't have to donate, no donation required, but you know something, just to show your gratitude if you use GhostBSD or you like GhostBSD, and then just a little donation helps keep things going. So I'm going to make, it's not a huge amount, I'm going to make a donation. Right, all being done. It's not much, but you know, if you do it every time, it does add up. Here we are on the live session running in VirtualBox. I've given it 8 gigabytes and 4 cores, 4 processors, with I think it's about 100 gigabyte hard drive. I don't know why I give it that much, but I did, because I'm going to be keeping this image a while and doing things on it. But yeah, here we have a look at some of the new backgrounds for this release, and some are very nice, very dark, very atmospheric, which I do like. That's nice. I like that one. And we'll put it back to the standard stock one. Right. So what do you get? Let's have a look in accessories. You get character map, engramper, Mate calculator, the usual things that you get in the Mate desktop, which is pretty good. Everything you need really to get going with a basic desktop. For graphics, you get Eye of Mate, Mate Color Selection, and Shotwell. You get Firefox for basic browsing. Office, you still don't get an Office suite, which is, or a word processor at the very least, which it still gets me. RhythmBox and VLC, you get a sound thingy. You get Kaja, log file viewer, and Mate system monitor, Mate terminal. So the usual things. So in places, you get the home folder, desktop, computer, GhostBSD mounted drive, which is the disk image that we've got, network, connected server, and, you know, again, the usual things. And preferences, you can change hardware, keyboard, and all them things, which I prefer to do via the control center. There's some useful tools there, which we'll have a look in a bit once we've installed. Help, about Mate, lock screen, log out, and shut down. You got help guide and about Mate, which is 1.28.2. And you've got things on the right hand side. You've got networking, sound, and date, calendar. And at the bottom here, you've got your virtual desktops. And show desktop if it's overcrowded and a lot of things are open. You got your main system folder. You got your home folder, of course. And just get rid of that. And empty the thing. So even in a virtual, even in a live session, it works. And there's your home folder without that little error thing there. Yeah, it's all good. And right clicking on the desktop opens up, usual short menu. You can create and documents and folders, open a terminal and just organize. And it's just various things. And change your background wallpaper, etc. as we've already seen. There's your themes. Vimix or Vimix. There's your backgrounds. There's your fonts. We'll just check that. I mean, it looked good anyway, so it doesn't matter. Interface if you want to change some aspects of how it works. So yeah, I mean, they have changed a lot, but in some respects, GhostBSD always remains consistent, which is a good thing, because it's very predictable in the sense you know what you're getting. No sudden changes and no unexpected additions. Right, we'll click on install. Oh, I know, before we install, we'll have a look at Control Center, which we didn't do. I do like the Control Center in GhostBSD. I know it's some people said that. You get it in Mate anyway. But what I like about the GhostBSD one is you get this little top section which has got all the station apps in it, which to me is almost like a signature of GhostBSD, and it makes things so much easier. You get the usual things where you can change the mouse and here's some system information if you want it. You can change the keyboard, etc. Yeah, it's 8 gigabytes. It's running on a HP Z600 using 4 of the cores, software rendering, of course. Yep, it's all very nice. And you can change appearances and, the usual things that you can do. And about and all them things. I think we've looked at them in depth in previous ones. And I'm just going to switch off the screensaver because it really gets annoying when it goes off during installation, and I'm trying to show you various aspects. Just turn that off, and we'll click on install again. Right. One thing about GhostBSD which is fantastic, in a video which I'll leave a link in the description for Chris Barner from explainingcomputers.com. He did a recent look at FreeBSD and some derivatives, and he looked at GhostBSD, and he said how easy the installer was, even easier as some Linux ones, and he's completely 100% correct. The install in GhostBSD is wonderful. It's easy to use. One aspect that does confuse me is if you choose English UK, perhaps like there, if I choose Spanish and click next, it goes to English US. So choosing English UK, perhaps I don't think whatever you choose, it goes to automatically keyboard layout. It would be nice if, say, for instance, it went to the country or thereabouts of the selection that you just chose previous screen. It's a little thing. It's no big deal. And there's a lot to choose from, which is credit to the GhostBSD. But there's some really unusual ones there. I've never heard of these. Wow. Anyway, if you say like you choose your location, and then it shows perhaps a keyboard matching that location, that would be it would be easy for us who cannot find their own keyboard, which I am trying to do now. There it is. You'd think I'd know by now, wouldn't you? So English UK, keyboard models. So I'm using VirtualBox, so I'm not quite sure if I should use the Sun one, which I'm using. I'll just keep it, I'll keep it generic. Yeah, best do that. So next, Again, it's gone to continent. You perhaps thought it would have gone to Europe, but we'll click on that. And we'll scroll down for the capital city of your own country, which is London. There we go. And that's that. You can choose full disk or custom if you want a partition, which I used to do in the past, but I don't do that anymore. So we'll just click next. And there's your VirtualBox hard disk. I'm going to leave everything as default. Don't need to touch any of this unless you have a reason to. We're on a single disk, virtual disk, but if you have a 2 disk, a 3 disk, 4, 5, or a stripe, same as a single disk, we'll just click that. Going to leave that as it is and click next. And it's the only OS, so we'll leave that there. Now we have to fill in the details. Admin setup. So the name of the admin user, the username, and a password, which you really shouldn't forget. So try and remember this, otherwise you're going to be in big trouble. Super weak. And if you make a mistake, it will tell you that they don't match up, which is a nice touch. And install. There we go. And we'll fast forward this. It doesn't take that long anyway, but we'll fast forward the process until we get to the end. Right, all done. It says installation is complete. So I'm going to power down VirtualBox, which is so weird. I prefer hardware. I'm going to power down VirtualBox, remove the ISO, and I'll restart into the installed system. Right. I'm on the FreeBSD Motive Window Manager desktop at the moment. Now there's a VirtualBox. Just starting it up. I'll zoom in so we can see what's going on. So I'm booting up the virtual drive, GhostBSD, there it is. So this is the installed OS. It's a bit smaller than we normally used to it, but it'll resize in a minute, I should imagine, hopefully. I mean, hopefully I'm going to get a new test machine. It's just the older one just absolutely kaputted, so VirtualBox or nothing. So yeah. But GhostBSD runs really well on VirtualBox anyway. All right, it's resized, which is good. And there is the login screen. Just going to set things up so we can see a bit clearer before we log in. Right, there we go. Zoom in. Right, hopefully everyone can see this. It's a little bit on the small side, like 4x3 display. But so everything is per normal as GhostBSD if it's laid out the same. I'm going to put in the login password. Oh no, but I'm not sure. One thing I do like is that you can view a disguised password just in case you want to check it. Like that. That's not the password, but it'll do. I'll just put in the real one. And just in case for those who perhaps, I've got sausage fingers like me who might type in an extra character without meaning to. So we're logging in. And yeah, it feels fairly snappy. I mean, it would be its VirtualBox, but it feels fairly snappy. And nice and clean and tidy, which you expect from GhostBSD. Everything's there apart from the install option, which makes sense. And everything feels really quick. Yeah, it feels good. I like that. Internet's already working. It's Ethernet anyway. I would normally test Wi-Fi, but with being VirtualBox, I'm not going to bother. And let's have check the fonts out. Yeah, it didn't stay checked, which it really doesn't. I mean, some do when you make an option while it's live. Some carry on to the install, but that one didn't, so that's not a big deal. We'll have a look at Control Center, and we'll have a look at the station tweak at the bottom there. Backup station. So before we'll have a look at backup station, software station, and update station, and station tweak. Which, speaking of which, is pretty cool. you can change whether you got compositor, like that. If your hardware runs a little bit better without compositor on, it might look a bit more, might be a bit rougher, but some people might want to turn it off. It's always making VirtualBox go a bit funny. You can change whether you drag a window of the contents, which I tend to do anyway. You can change how your buttons on your Windows are, so you can have it more like a Mac or Windows layout like that. You can emphasize Marco Window Manager. I thought it was using Marco by default. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. And you can change whether or not your desktop, you can have whether you want a clean desktop or you want icons. You can choose which you want on and which you don't want on. Network if you want, which, yeah, normally on my test machine, it will populate itself by the other computers on my system, on my network, so it didn't in VirtualBox. But that's not a thing against GhostBSD, that's just VirtualBox, and I don't know how to configure it properly. Right, so have a look at backup station. So whenever you do a major update, backups, you know, it'll make a backup automatically of your system, a snapshot as it were, in case things go wrong, which can roll back to before you made any changes. You can do it manually, and you can do it via this system. So you can do it via the terminal if you wish, and in GhostBSD, oh, you can't read that, can you? Oh, never mind. Bead M, oh, is not installed, so the default one is Bechtel. CTL. I call it Bechtel. Some people don't like it, but I don't care. So it's Bechtel list, and it'll show you what we're currently using, which is the sort of like base install. And that just says that we selected that, and that's what we use when we boot up. You can create a new one of the system as it is right now running. And you can do it via a nice little GUI like this. Or you could do it via the command line, which does the same thing. There's one or two option extras which you can do, but if you're not comfortable with the command line, you can use this nice little tool. You could create, rename, delete, activate, mount, and unmount. Boot environment backup, that's what BE stands for. Or you can do it via command line. So, say for instance, and that's just telling you that's the one we boot up, just like the other one did. So we can create one if we wish. So click on create. So you just need a name for it. You can call it whatever you want, but usually if you give it a date and a name, then you know whereabouts in the line you are. So we're going to call this one test. So if we made any changes to the one that we boot up in now, and it all goes wrong, we can roll back to that one. And if we list it here, you can see test comes up. We can rename it to anything we want, or just delete it, which we're going to do. So test is gone, and if we do another list here, test is no longer there. So it really, this little station tweak, backup station as it were, does everything the terminal control, the terminal command can do. It just gives you an easy way to present it. I'm going to create one anyway. I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to go GhostBSD and then give it, at the time of this video, the date, which is in the English way that the British way that we do it is 7/3/23. I've lost 2 years. 25. There we go. And so if I make any changes or any tweaks or I completely mess up the system, I can reboot into the backup one and it will carry on as normal. So the next thing that we'll be looking at will be update station. And this is where you get all obviously your system updates, software updates, etc. This shouldn't be because it's a brand new image and it's just been released. Yeah, no updates available. But normally that's where it would check in the background and you get a little notification on your little taskbar at the top. So in that case, let's have a look at software station where you you can install without using the command line, which is a pretty neat feature for all those people who over the years have complained that FreeBSD has to be done by command line. This is an example where you've got a nice GUI, and it's quite a nice one to use. And these ones are already ticked, are already installed. So you've got every category you want, all the way down to multimedia. You've got Polish, even X11 window managers. So that's pretty good. Yeah. One thing is, I do find it difficult to grab these little scroll bars. Okay. So there's no Office. Yeah. I mean, I know it's included in separate sections, but I might have thought there would have been an Office one. That's kind of like throwing me for a minute. Anyway, let's search for LibreOffice. And Software Station is like keyword activated, so you don't have to type up the entire word. So there's English GB. You select the one that applies to you, of course, and it will pull in everything else it needs. And once you're happy with that, you press apply, and it will start installing. It does pull in a few extra things, just a few. Of course, because LibreOffice is a very large installation. And there we go, just some other things it needs to do. So it shouldn't take that long. And you're happy with that? Confirm, and it will download. And the bright blue thing, one of the changes that I do remember from the changelog is this bright blue status line at the bottom, which is a good improvement from, I think it used to be grey, or black, I can't remember. But the bright blue is, and it's also consistent with the theme of GhostBSD. So there it is, it's automatically populated in the menu. Got LibreOffice, I want to have a look at Writer. That loads up fairly quickly. So yeah. And you have a word processor, which I think, I'm going to say this every time I install GhostBSD, it should be included. At least a word processor. Even just Abbey Word maybe, because that's small enough. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not in charge. So there's a version, which is pretty good. It's one of the latest versions of LibreOffice. And we'll type in hello GhostBSD. There we go. And we'll make it very big. 96. There we go. Yeah, so font rendering, time for things to open is good. I've got no complaints. It's GhostBSD. It's reliable. So yeah, this is not the most in-depth review. I don't like using VirtualBox. I find it, I don't know, it's limiting. You know what I mean? I prefer hardware. And hopefully I'll get a new test machine up and running soon. But I thought I'd just have a look at GhostBSD. And yeah, the improvements and fixes make it even more of a slicker experience than it was before. And it was pretty smooth before. So 100% congratulations to Eric. He puts a lot of work into this. It's very much a labour of love. And yeah, fantastic, and it pays off. Every release is just fantastic. Download GhostBSD, give it a go, see what you think. Leave a comment in the description box down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. If you do give it a thumbs up, and you've given one or two other videos a thumbs up, then please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, then please make sure you tick that bell to make sure you don't forget or miss out on any new videos I release. And don't forget to check out Chris Barnard's of explainingcomputers.com, his take on FreeBSD, GhostBSD, MidnightBSD, and NomadBSD. It's an excellent review, and he's such a great YouTuber and an asset to the nerd community. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This and every other video on my channel has been made using FreeBSD and open source software.